Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way now to 12,700 subscribers. And of course, if you could click the like button, I would be incredibly grateful. There is lots to talk about today. I mean, it's preview after preview. We've got the preview of the PSG game. We'll talk about the Leicester game. We'll talk about everything else that happened over the weekend. We've got updates on fitness, good updates, to be honest. It feels like a good day. I'm in a good mood, even though it's a Monday. So I hope you're all doing well. There's plenty of you here. Ethan Udall, VV Vlad Jr., Films, Anu Brata, Hyper, Lord Ferguson of Aberdeen, Layla, Oslo, Icarus, Saliba, Top Player, Philip, Woodsy, Ross Lawman, Brent, Carter, Joaquim, Hannah, and many, many more. It is good to see you all. The skip tackle, yeah, we'll talk about the skip tackle. Oh, whoa. We've had a field day today with Dermot Gallagher. I'll tell you that for free. An absolute field day with the hypocrisy, the contradictions. It's mental warfare at this point. I really do feel like I'm living in a simulation. This is some sort of social experiment, and I'm failing the experiment. Because they are taking the piss. They are taking the piss at this point, and we will talk about it. Got a ticket on the exchange this morning. You'll love to see it. Ben Sharp will be at the Emirates tomorrow, and so will I. I also got a ticket last night. In fact, I got a ticket whilst we were live on Twitch. Little plug for Twitch. We're playing FIFA pretty much every evening at the moment over on Twitch, 10:30 till about midnight. Nwaneri to glory. And we will be doing the same again tonight. So, link is down in the description if you want to come and watch us on Twitch in the evenings. I guess MERINO didn't have a fractured shoulder. No, or if it was a minor fracture. Because that is some of the news today, that Mikel MERINO is back in training. Interestingly, that didn't actually come from Mikel Arteta's press conference, who, in his press conference at least, was playing it quite coy. But no, we've got some good moves. Are you evoing Nwaneri? Yeah, we are. At the moment, Nwaneri is up to 71 rated, and we will continue to evolve the Nwaneri card. Do you play Ultimate Team or Ultimate Team? But yeah, look. So there's loads to get into. We'll start with Arteta's press conference, because that's just the easiest place to start. But to be fair, the majority of the stuff from it we can actually cover using the pictures today from training. On injuries, Arteta actually said no news. We have a training session this afternoon and we have to review a few players. But overall, especially anyone returning, there's nothing to give back. Now, obviously, yesterday, we didn't stream last night, but yesterday we had this Calafiori scare, I would call it. So, Team News and Ticks leaked that Calafiori had hurt his knee. He was in a knee. It wasn't a knee brace. It was like a sleeve around his knee after the game. And what was quite important for me in what he leaked was that Calafiori had been seen in tears. And when you hear that a player is in tears about an injury, you normally assume the worst. So we had that scare yesterday. Team News and Ticks himself then this morning said that they'd done scans. There was nothing serious, nothing to worry about. And then today, Calafiori was in training. So Arteta was asked on whether Ben White and Calafiori are fit. He said those are two players that are in contention and we have to review today. We didn't do any training sessions yesterday. Ricardo was a bit emotional after the game. So let's see how he is today. So it was an interesting one. But look, I'll spoiler alert, Calafiori was in training today. So that was decent. He was then asked about PSG. Don't really care about that. To be fair, there wasn't actually much else here that was overly interesting. Some stuff about Timbri, Calafiori, bringing something new to the fullback position, which they do. We missed Jurgen for 11 months and Ricky wasn't here. They are two players that have a football brain, the intelligence, the quality and adaptability to occupy different spaces, whether attacking or defending. And that is bang on, by the way. But look, let's go and look at this instead. The pictures from today. So immediately you can see Calafiori is there. So at this point, happy days on Calafiori. Nothing on his left knee. So that is all looking good. There we go. Calafiori's there. And then Mikel MERINO, baby. Mikel MERINO is there as well. This is what we want to see. Takahiro Tomiyasu is also there. This is what we want to see. There's them out on the pitch as well. Again, Calafiori. This is the future. this left-hand side, the Premier League is not ready for it. They are not ready for it. I am excited. And then I think there was another picture. I don't know if it's on here, but it was an important one. This one. So, because some people were saying, well, it might just be like, partial training. Maybe they're just doing the fitness. Mikel Merino's getting straight back into tackling. So at this point, this is full contact training. So Mikel Merino should not be far away. Now, do I think he'll play tomorrow? Maybe not, just because he needs to get up to speed. But he's very close to being back. And that is sensational news, to be quite honest. So we are moving in the right direction with injuries. Really, the only big one then to come back is Ødegaard. Obviously, look, Zinchenko, Tierney, fine. But the big one's Ødegaard. I'm still surprised Partey's staying fit. Yeah, it's impressive, to be fair. It is impressive. Teenat fell off, rumour mongering at best. The issue with Teenat is that now he's put things behind him. As soon as you monetize, right? And listen, I will never criticize someone for going out and trying to earn money, right? It's a tough old world. If you can do it, do it. But you have to appreciate that as soon as you start monetizing, everyone will look at you differently. Everyone will look at you in a way of, okay, is there an ulterior motive here? Because one thing I always used to praise Team News and Ticks for, big time. It was the biggest thing I could say about him was he doesn't say things unless they need to be said. He'd update you very rarely. Even when like the Declan Rice saga, he'd update you very rarely. And I'd always said, he won't update you for the sake of updating you. Now that it's monetized, that rumor coming out yesterday against Calafiori. If he knew scans were happening today, just wait for the results of the scans instead of sending the fan base into turmoil. But that's the reality. The flip side of it is that he's making money. So, it's worth it for him. Ben White is pissed because someone's got his place. I honestly, I think people are blowing this conversation out of proportion. For me, I am more than happy that between White, realistically, Saliba, if he's fit, starts. Saliba is the one player, in my opinion, that starts 90% of games, and you rest him against Bolton or against, Preston, and you can throw Kivior in there or whatever. Saliba's the one that plays every game. But outside of that, for me, there's 3 other defensive spots, and there are 4 players, right? So you can rotate one of them every 4 games if you need to. And that is fine. So you can have White and Timber as the fullbacks. Calafiori gets a rest. Then you can have White and Calafiori and Timber gets a rest. Then you can have Timber and Calafiori and White gets a rest. Then you could have White, Calafiori at left centre-back, Timber at left-back, and Gabriel gets a rest. So don't get me wrong. We will get to the point where Mikel has his favourite. We will get to the point. Tomiyasu, for me, I almost consider... Look, Tomiyasu will play minutes, don't get me wrong. But for me, at this point, even last season when he was fit, I felt like Tomiyasu was slightly below the level that we had moved to. So for me, if I'm considering the top players that we've got, it's them. There will be a selection that Arteta favours. There will be the selection that against Liverpool, Man City, Inter in the Champions League, you'll find out. And it may well be Timber and Calafiori. But I don't think that means Ben White has been dropped at this point, because I just still think Ben White will start a lot of games. And that's the difference. Reckon Tommy goes soon? I think Tomiyasu will go next summer. I think we might lose Kivior in January, to be honest, even though Kivior has been important so far this season because of the injuries that we've had. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Kivior leaves in January. And I think Tomiyasu will leave next summer. I think we'll bring in another fullback next summer. I think it'll be Hato from Ajax. And I think that'll be us set then. I think that'll be the defense that we have. I think you'll be looking... I think by the end of next summer, Zinchenko may well leave as well. And I think our defense will be White, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Jorel Hato, Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think it'll be those 7. Risky losing Kivior. And then you've also got more academy players coming through like Kukuri as well. It is risky, but I think they'll do it. If Calafiori can improve his one-on-one defending, even to the level of Tommy, he'll be the best left back in the league. He'll be up there. He'll be up there with Gvardiol. He will be up there with Gvardiol. You're right. There is still look. Calafiori is not perfect still. There are still elements of his game defensively from left back that I do think he needs to work on. But he offers us so much more going forwards. When was the last time you saw Martinelli that involved in a game? You know? And this is before we've even seen Mikel Merino back in there, by the way. Mikel Merino was really the signing to unlock Martinelli, but Calafiori's done it to an extent. Will MLS eventually move to left 8? I don't know. I'm not sure. Possibly. But if he can do both, then it's just a very versatile player to have in the squad, right? Tommy and Kivior out, Hato and Diamande in, or is that greedy? I don't know about Diamande, to be honest. Diamande's fallen off a little bit, so I don't know. I think you might only need one, to be honest. If you can get a group that stay fit, like realistically, the only reason we've ended up needing to rely on Kivior is because you can't rely on Tomiyasu or Zinchenko to stay fit. If you go and buy a player that you can rely on staying fit, then I don't think it's too much of a problem. What about Kirkes? I don't know. Why don't we try Timber at 6? I think he'd be so good, so composed on the ball. I think he would be a perfect midfielder. Well, he probably could do the job there if he needed to. Like, realistically, once we've lost Jorginho and Partey and we've only got Declan Rice, I mean, the assumption is we will go and bring in another 6 next summer, but I'm sure he could do the job. But equally, if you actually go back and watch the game against Leicester, both Calafiori and Timber were moving into midfield at times. We were almost forming like a 3-2. Declan Rice was dropping a bit deeper, and Calafiori and Timber were both moving into midfield. So they can do it from fullback. It's more likely we sell Tomiyasu simply because Kivior is always available compared to Tommy. I agree. Well, this is why I think we'll sell both. Because I agree with the Tomiyasu point. I think it's the reason that we gave Tomiyasu a short contract. We only gave him that 3-year deal. There will be 2 years left on that by next summer. You don't want to get that into the last year. So that's why I think we'll sell him. But Kivior, we know that there is interest there. We know that he wants, regular game time. And he's not going to get that. Realistically, he probably won't. And again, this is the point. Once Tomiyasu's back, who's dropping out of the squad again? We're back to those decisions of we have 2 defenders on the bench normally. Which one is going to drop out? Because you're going to have one of Calafiori, Timber, White. One of them is going to be on the bench. You got room for one more. When everyone is fit and available, I feel like we have a minimum of 6 or 7 guaranteed starters, and then the other players will be rotated out on a weekly basis to keep them fresh. Yeah, to an extent, 100%. And that's good. That's the position we needed to be in. Last year, I don't think people realized how suboptimal it was last year when we had like 7 players that played more minutes than I can't remember the exact stat, but basically 7 of our players basically played like over 95% of the minutes. That's not good. It's not good. Like, you don't want that. And in reality, 2 of them have already been injured this season in Ødegaard and Ben White. So is it just me, or is it a thrill every time Calafiori touches the ball? It is. And the reason is you don't know what he's going to do with it. This is what I like about Calafiori. And it helps that he's left-footed, but he can overlap Martinelli. He can underlap Martinelli. He can come into the middle for Martinelli to feed it into him. And when he picks up the ball, he might go back left. He might come onto his right. He might just drive forward with the ball. Like, it's exciting. It is exciting. Thoughts on Wirtz next season? I don't think we'll do it personally. I'd love it. Florian Wirtz is an absolutely fantastic player, but I don't know. For the money that they're quoting, 125 million, I don't see when you look at the other positions that we need, like between Ødegaard and Nwaneri, we don't really need, and don't get me wrong, we could do with one, but we don't need one. To go and spend 125 million to get Florian Wirtz, when really we need 2 other midfielders, more defensive-minded midfielders. Yeah, I don't think it will happen. We need a big squad, and the games are no trip to the sun this season. No, we do need a big squad, but there's only so big that you can have a squad, and this is the balance, right? And City have struggled with it. Now that City have got Rodri injured, they've got a few injury. Oscar Bob's injured. City are struggling, but That's the reality is like, okay, you can do a Chelsea, build a massive squad of players that aren't actually that good. You cannot build a squad of 22 to 25 players where everyone is at a top level, because there is no way that very good players, like if you've got a player like Kivior could probably start for 17 of the 20 Premier League teams, right? So if you've got a player that's got that ability, and we heard, AC Milan were interested in him, I think Juventus were interested in him. If you've got a player that's that good, and he's not even getting into a match day squad, he's going to want to leave. It's almost impossible to manage it. And so actually, what you have to do is build a bit of a smaller squad, which is what City do, and then rely on the youth to fill in the gaps. And that's what we will do, and we have been doing it already. It's tough, it is tough. Agree with T-Nat. He brought an expectation from Arsenal fans as soon as he paywalled. Yeah. Who do you think we will sign as the two defensive-minded midfield defenders, and who do you want? I think you mean midfielders, but the two defensive-minded midfielders, honestly, I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and throw out names or pretend that I know names that we're going to go for. The reality is, Arsenal won't have a list of names that they want to go for yet. They make that list in like February, March time. Arteta has explained that before. And that will be based on players that play well this season across Europe. So, it's complete guesswork at this point. It would be complete guesswork. I don't think we'll go back for Zubimendi. I would love Adam Wharton. Morgan Rogers, different type of player. Massive fan of Morgan Rogers. Don't think Villa would sell him to us. Adam Wharton for me would be pretty much number one, I have to say. Bruno G, of course, is up there. Yeah, Bruno G will still be up there. But again, I don't think Newcastle will sell. But no, Adam Wharton would be the one for me. Timber Brothers link up. I will be there. Maybe. I just hope we're not extending Partey. We're not extending Partey. We'd have already done it. If Chelsea miss out on Champions League this year, we should go for Palmer. Yeah, look, I think if Palmer performs at the same level this season that he did last season, and it looks like he might, and Chelsea still aren't in the Champions League next season, it wouldn't surprise me if he moved. Now, would he move to Arsenal? Not sure, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he moved. If you're that good, you're talking like one of the best players in the Premier League at that point. If he stays at the same level this season that he was last season, if you're one of the best players in the Premier League, you're not staying at a team that is, repeatedly not qualifying for the Champions League. Do you think MERINO will play before the international break? Wouldn't surprise me if he came on against Southampton. I don't think he'll play tomorrow, but it wouldn't surprise me if he came on against Southampton, which would be great. Home game, get him on the pitch in a home game, because if his first introduction is after that, it's away at Bournemouth, which is still fine, but it's not at home. He's got 9 years left on his deal. Yeah, he does have 9 years left on his deal, to be fair. Haven't watched a lot of Adam. What does he do well? Ball progression. If you're talking, even if you're talking about wanting to replace Thomas Partey's ability to move the ball forward, to thread balls through, that's Adam Wharton. But he's also more athletic, more tenacious. He's a very, very good player. Very good player. Where would Palmer play at Arsenal? Good question. Really good question, to be honest, because I do think he's best off centrally. Palmer is best off centrally, so which we don't really play. You'd find a way to get him in, but I don't know where. Could Arsenal make a move for someone in January in terms of a defensive mid to take a little pressure off the summer window? I would hope so. I think that would be proactive. But the January window is just such a tough window. It is the January window where we signed Trossard, Jorginho, Kivior. We did a very, very good job. You don't normally get that sort of value in a January window. If Partey takes a significant pay cut and agreed to be a squad player, would you renew? Maybe, but only if we really couldn't get a player that we wanted. And the difficulty with that is that you'd have to renew him before the start of the summer. Otherwise, he'd just be out of contract. Nwaneri has honestly become our first option off the bench for an attacking profile over Jesus and Sterling, in my opinion, and that's saying something. 100%. Certainly ahead of Jesus. I think that is fair to say. I think if you're looking to the bench now and you've got, it's Nwaneri or Jesus, I think it's Jesus. I think it's Nwaneri. I do. Very few times, if I think back over the last few years, even when we've been in that position where we've needed to bring on a sub to really make an impact and take the game by the scruff of the neck, Reece Nelson did it a couple of times. Smith Rowe struggled to do it. Fabio Vieira struggled to do it. Jesus has struggled to do it. Trossard does it to an extent, but really the impact that Nwaneri had, that's not normal for a 17-year-old. It's just like, I think we have to appreciate that is not normal for a 17-year-old. And the atmosphere was not nice. The atmosphere that he was coming onto the pitch to was not nice. We'd watched City drop points. We were 2-0 up in that game. We thought, job done, see it out. It was not a nice atmosphere for him to come onto. It was nervy. Every time the ball went out, there was groaning. Every time there was a misplaced pass, it was like, oh my God. It was anxious. And he came on as a 17-year-old in front of 60,000 fans and demanded the ball. He demanded the ball to his feet and he wanted to do something with it every time. And actually then the quality was there. It wasn't just he wanted the ball and the quality was there. He didn't lose the ball. He carried it well. He made sure he wasn't dispossessed in stupid places. Like, I was seriously impressed. Seriously impressed. When he dribbled past two players and nearly scored, it brought the whole energy up in the stadium. And from that point, we didn't let Leicester get out of their own box. Exactly. Yeah. It was impressive. Trossard is okay. His stats are crazy coming off the bench. No, I agree. But in terms of I don't know. Trossard, his stats are unbelievable off the bench. Absolutely. But in terms of when you bring Trossard on, I don't feel like there's that buzz that Nwaneri gave. And maybe that's because Nwaneri's a kid. And maybe it's because he's a little bit quicker than Trossard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away from what Trossard does. Nwaneri is a kid. I prefer to introduce him slowly. Oh, 100%. 100%. I wouldn't start him against PSG. I might start him against Southampton. Probably wouldn't start him against Bournemouth away. Wouldn't start him against Liverpool or Newcastle. I'd start him against Ipswich at home. I think there are some games that he's ready to start in. He wasn't afraid to have a shot either. No. Does Ethan start tomorrow? No. Nwaneri doesn't start tomorrow. United made this mistake with Kobbie Mainoo, right? And this is the mistake we have to avoid making with Nwaneri. He might be ready in the same way that Mainoo was kind of ready. But I believe Mainoo's growth and development has actually been stunted. I don't think he's looked anywhere near as good this season. And I think it's been stunted because he got used like a bar of soap last season by Ten Hag. And I don't think that's good. And I don't want that to happen to Nwaneri. I want him to start in a few games that are really the relatively easy games at home. Come off the bench more and more. I would like to get to the point where maybe our first sub off the bench is Nwaneri in an attacking sense. But you don't want to start relying on him at that age. It's not helpful. Can't sleep on MLS either. They're both at a similar level. It's mad that we have two insane prospects coming through at the same time. Oh, 100%. 100%. But for me, Miles Lewis-Skelly comes across at least as quite a more reserved guy. I don't think Miles Lewis-Skelly he's actually very comfortable on the ball and loves holding on to the ball. But I don't think he's ready to be that star like Nwaneri is. So I actually think the fact that they're coming through together and that focus is on Nwaneri is brilliant for Miles Lewis-Skelly because he can just under the radar continue developing, continue getting minutes here and there. And again, very, very promising player. Love the pick today with Nwaneri and Arteta. He clearly gets a lot of coaching from Mikel. Oh, he does. I saw a thing the other day. Apparently, one of the very, very first conversations Mikel Arteta had at the club was about Nwaneri when he was 12 years old. They have been, they've been nurturing Nwaneri for a long time. And there is a reason that we basically blew all of our structure out of the water to keep him when Man City wanted him. New contract in number 10 for Ethan by the end of the season? Honestly, no. And I say that in good faith because, don't get me wrong, he could grow into it and become the future number 10. In hindsight, when we just went and gave out those numbers to Eddie and Smith Rowe, obviously Saka and Martinelli, I think it's worked, but like, he doesn't need it yet. And it does come with weight. The number does, it shouldn't do necessarily because it is just a number, but it does come with weight on it. It wouldn't surprise me if Ødegaard took the 10 and we signed someone who took the 8 next summer. United gave 7 to Mount. Yeah, terrible. Terrible. We need to start him. The confidence is there. Yeah, but you don't need to start him though. He's 17. He'll be fully aware that he's not just going to start starting every game. You don't need to do it. Nwaneri is ahead of Lewis and Bob in their careers, really, as they didn't play at 17 for City. True. But again, Pep Guardiola with Rico Lewis especially actually held him back last season. Rico Lewis, we saw him more 2 seasons ago than we saw him last season. And again, look, was that the best thing for Rico Lewis? Maybe not, but I do think you've got to be careful with them. Even if they are super confident, even if they do think they're ready for it, you just got to manage them. Ødegaard injury update, we missed him. We don't actually know. All we know is he's not going on international duty with Norway. We know he's not going on international duty with Norway. So, not sure. That's my point. There's no need to rush them. Yeah, 100%. 100%. One thing today, by the way. Oh, yeah. So, Ousmane Dembele has been left out of the PSG squad for tomorrow. This was pretty, I don't know, felt like it was unexpected, I suppose. But yeah, he has been fully left out of the PSG squad tomorrow. And I'm just going to say, I don't actually know how much he's been playing for PSG this season. But he basically had a falling out with Luis Enrique. So that last game, I mean, their last Champions League game, yeah, Dembele did start and played the whole 90. He fell out with Luis Enrique, and Luis Enrique has dropped him from the entire squad. So I don't know what they fell out about. They had an argument, and then Enrique said something today along the lines of, basically, Dembele had suggested that the team needs him to win games. And Enrique said something along the lines of like, you'd think we'd won every game that Dembele had ever started, when in reality we haven't. And then he listed a bunch of games where Dembele had started and they'd lost, which is fairly brutal. But yeah, so he's not going to play. Outside of that, I mean, they've been playing this Safonov guy in goal. Didn't even realize that they had dropped Donnarumma. But they've been playing this Safonov guy in goal. And then this is probably going to be their team. Vitinha's back. It might be that João Neves plays in the midfield. It might be Neves, Ruiz, Zaire Emery. It wouldn't even surprise. Maybe one of them moves up to right wing. I don't know. But yeah, Dembele's not in their squad. So I suppose that's at least... I mean, I think he's shit. I'll be honest. I think Dembele is shit. So I don't even think it's a big deal for them. But there you go. Donnarumma's injured. Okay, that makes more sense. Well, interestingly, Donnarumma is actually in the squad. Oh, yeah, look. But Donnarumma is in the squad, the travelling squad. So maybe Donnarumma will start. Maybe. Not sure. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. And to be honest, this is still a decent team. It's a nice midfield. You know, 3 of them. Throw João Neves back into there if you need to. It's a nice midfield. Barcola looks very good this season. They'll probably play that Lee Kang up front. It's a good team. The defense, I think we can get at. I think we can get at the defense, but it's going to be a tough game. It is going to be a tough game, but one that I am looking forward to. It has to be said. You're doing too much. He's not shit. I'm sorry. I don't rate him. I'm sorry. I honestly, every time I watch him, I think he's just not very good. I just don't think it is. Have you got a ticket? I do have a ticket, yeah. I do have a ticket. Got one off the exchange last night. They're expensive, I can't lie. They are expensive. Cost me 108 quid. But the cheapest ones you could get were like 80 quid, I think. Vegas Gunner, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. Is Raheem any better than Reece Nelson at this point? Could Reece do what Sterling is doing right now if Arteta played him more? Sterling isn't cheap. Well, two things on that. Firstly, actually, we're paying the same amount to Raheem Sterling that we were paying to Reece Nelson. So Reece Nelson was on 100 grand a week, and that is what we're paying to Raheem Sterling. So it's not costing us anything more to have Raheem Sterling. I think Raheem Sterling is a better player than Reece Nelson. I think when you get into the final third, I think Sterling is more likely to complete the correct action than Reece Nelson. The assist that he got against Bolton for me was a prime example. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't have to worry about it. First time, left-footed cross, right into the danger zone. That, for me, is what Sterling offers. Obviously, he's got the experience. So, yeah, I do think Sterling's a better option to have when you're paying the same amount for both of them. It has to be said. But look, I want Reece Nelson to have a good season at Fulham, and I think he started well. So, Dembele's been pretty lively this season. I'll tell you this for free. He's been their best player this season. You don't drop your best player because you had an argument with them. You just don't. I don't think he's been their best player this season, personally. If he had been their best player this season, I think Luis Enrique would have told him off, not dropped him publicly, in my opinion. But look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It's still an advantage, right? It's still an advantage to us, him not being there. But did you see Leicester fans now valuing their keeper at 100 mil? I don't blame them. Now, I wasn't there when De Gea had that insane performance against Arsenal, right? So I wasn't there to witness that. What I can tell you is that goalkeeping performance is the best goalkeeping performance I have ever witnessed live. I have never seen anything like it. And like the amount of times where you're celebrating, you're off your seat celebrating, and you're like, how has that not gone in? The Gabriel header, the Calafiori header, the Havertz, the one where Havertz like bloody controlled it behind his back and then got that right-footed volley off. I mean, I don't even know if he knows how he saved that, the keeper. The Trossard one, I thought Trossard should have done better on that one, actually. I thought he made it a bit too easy, but no, it was unbelievable. And he nearly saved even the fourth goal we scored through Jesus. He nearly managed to save that one as well. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. PSG fans are raging at the decision to drop him. Good. I'm glad. Glad to hear it. One interesting one as well. The Martinelli one. One interesting one, actually, coming back to this. So this came from Ryan Taylor today. Arsenal have scouted the highly rated Hammarby winger, Bazumana Toure. The 18-year-old Ivorian winger has also been scouted by Manchester United, Brighton, and Wolves. Now, I've literally never seen this guy, so we're going to be doing the old greenery test together. But apparently, Arsenal have been scouting this guy and are interested in him. So, 18 years old, left winger, 5 goals and 2 assists in 16 starts so far this season. Doesn't even tell me if he's left or right-footed. So, don't know if he's left or right-footed. Greenery test. It's not looking awful. Goals, ranks highly for goals. XG, decent. Not massively creative. Pass accuracy, bottom end of what you'd be happy with. Successful crosses, decent. Dribbles, successful dribbles. This is decent. That's good in terms of work rate. Anyone know anything about him? Anyone? Any of the... There are normally some Swedish people in here. Do you know about him? Do the Swedish people know about him in here? What are we saying? Does seem like the kind of guy Brighton would sign, to be fair. It does. It definitely seems like the kind of guy Brighton would sign for like 10 million and then someone will sign him for 50 million a year later. It's definitely got that to it. Gary Neville not going on Monday Night Football because he's too scared of how bad United are. Yeah, he's ducking it. He's ducking it, a little fraud. I quoted him last night because he said on Sky last night after the United game, he said that United in the first half were awful, embarrassing, disgusting, but that he wouldn't talk about how they played in the second half because they were down to 10 men. Huh, that's interesting. That's interesting. He was full of advice for how Arsenal should have played when we were down to 10 men. Get the likes up, people. Yeah, if you've not already clicked the like button, please do click the like button. Try and get us to 100 likes on the stream. That would be absolutely fantastic. It does genuinely massively help the channel grow. So I would appreciate that. Don't watch the Swedish League as a Swede. It's awful to watch. Fair enough. Fair enough. Don't blame you. Tomorrow is a big game. If we can drop... tomorrow is a big game. If we drop points, we will struggle to make the top 8. Yeah, it is. It is. Look, if we want top 8, we need to win tomorrow. Realistically. See how Roy Keane hasn't said shit about United, lol. To be honest, for those of you that watch Sky, the panel yesterday was terrible for the United game. Where was Roy? Like, where was even Carragher? Where was... who was it? It was Ashley Young, Darren Bent. I can't remember who the other one was, but it was terrible. Do you think Spurs are overrated? I still feel any good team will punish them. Yep. I do. I think Spurs were... I mean, United were awful. Redknapp. No, forgettable. No, I thought United were just awful, to be honest. So, wasn't it Sturridge and Mika? No. Not yesterday. What's the best pub near the Emirates to go to watch the Southampton game? I'm going to London this weekend, but couldn't get tickets for the game. I'm going on a stadium tour, though, so I'm basically there. Brent, you should sit on the ticket exchange this week. You can still get a ticket, Brent, is what I'd say. In terms of pubs, I don't really know. I never watch games in pubs around the Emirates, but yeah, get on the ticket exchange. You might still be able to get yourself a ticket. Potentially. The Horatio? Yeah, the Horatio. I don't know if they should... To be fair, I don't know which pubs show the games, but yeah. Lucky against Karabag. Yeah, they conceded a lot against Karabag with 10 men. But there we go. Is there anything else to speak about? Oh, well, I wanted to talk about Dermot fucking Gallagher. That's what I wanted to talk about. Dermot bastard Gallagher. So he's come out today. They were talking about why Ndidi wasn't given a second yellow card for kicking the ball away against Arsenal. Right? Now, the first thing he says is, right, this is brilliant. The first thing Dermot Gallagher says is, well, if we're giving out yellow cards for that sort of thing, we don't want players... if we're giving out yellow cards for that sort of thing, we'll have so many players sat in the stands. We don't want to see players sat in the stands for that sort of thing. Oh, that's funny. Because I thought it was letter of the law and there was nothing we could do about it. And Trossard and Declan Rice just had to be sent off for it. But apparently that's not what we want to be saying. And then he made it even worse, right? So his justification for it not being a yellow card on this occasion, even though supposedly it's letter of the law and there are no justifications and none of the context matters because it's just letter of the law and there's nothing the referee can do about it and the referee's hands are tied and they just have to send them off. Oh, but apparently, because Bukayo Saka was still on the floor and there was no one there to take the quick free kick, he wasn't delaying the restart. Which is interesting because I distinctly remember Bernardo Silva still being on the fucking floor when Trossard was getting sent off. So it's interesting how that didn't apply to Man City, who blatantly weren't going to take a quick free kick either. It's just unbelievable. It's like I'm living in a parody. It's like I'm living in the fucking Truman Show. It's unbelievable. Did he actually say that? Jesus Christ, that's the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. He's literally said that. He literally said, because Saka is on the ground and can't take the quick free kick, it's not delaying the restart. Unbelievable. Rory, how does someone like me, an American, get tickets to a game if I'm in London? Ticket exchange as well. Yeah, pretty much, Ryan. So there are ways. Now, I don't know fully how you do it. Because obviously I wouldn't even be able to do it. There are ways through international supporters clubs of getting tickets. So I believe and I might be wrong, but I believe the club give tickets to recognized international supporters clubs. So I'm sure there will be some in America, and you can get them through that, I think. Otherwise, ticket exchange. But obviously, it's difficult if you're coming all the way from America. Like the ticket exchange, normally your best chance of getting a ticket off the ticket exchange is like within the final 48 hours before the game, which is obviously difficult if you're coming from abroad. But do you think MERINO will be in the squad tomorrow? Maybe. Yeah, he will. He will, I reckon, because the Champions League squad's much bigger. You have a much bigger bench in the Champions League, so he can be on the bench and just be an unused sub, but it gets him being part of the squad. Love how all fans hate on Arsenal, pointing out the bullshit refs do, knowing full well if it was against their team, they'd be saying the same. Oh, yeah, 100%. Every time I talk about it, so many of the replies I get are, oh my God, he's still crying. Oh, they're still crying about it 2 weeks on. Oh, move on, move on. But it's like, I'm going to keep calling it out. I'm going to keep calling it out every fucking time it happens because we knew it was bullshit. We knew it was bullshit when it was happening. They gaslit us. They gaslit us into, oh, no, it's going to happen for everyone and your players are just stupid. Your players are idiots for doing it. But we're seeing it time and time again. Indeed, he was an idiot. He kicked the ball away whilst on a yellow card, but he didn't get punished for it, and that was the point. Does this mean he goes international? What, MERINO? I don't think so. I don't know if they've already released their squad, Spain, but I don't think he's going to go on the international break. I know I'm a bit late, but Traore is pretty highly rated in Sweden as a talent. Good to know. Good to know. Is there any Champions League streams on Wednesday on Big Up? Good question. What are the Champions League games on Wednesday? I might do one if there's a big one. What are they? Villa against Bayern Munich. Yeah, we might do it. We might do it. Villa against Bayern Munich at Villa could be a really interesting game. I'll see. I'll let you know. But we might do one. We might do one. Until I see a second yellow given to another club, I won't believe there's no agenda. Exactly. Exactly. Even Oliver Skipp. Oliver Skipp puts in what really could have been a red card challenge on Martinelli, right? 100% it's a yellow. Could very easily have been a red card. He gets up from that challenge. The whistle has gone. He runs 3 or 4 paces and kicks the ball away. Doesn't get a yellow. For a potential red card challenge and then kicking the ball away, and he doesn't even get 1 yellow card for it. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Are there any good referees in the Premier League? Apparently not. How does Lissandro not get a red for Kung Fu dropkick, but Bruno get a red? It's laughable. Yeah, I know. That Lissandro Martinez put in that challenge that was far worse than Bruno's. Like, I don't think Bruno should have been sent off, to be honest. But yeah, the refs are just mental. Justin from Gunnerblog, Arsenal are interested in Palmeiras centre-back Vitor Reis. How about a forward? Who's this? Who's Vitor Reis? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Vitor Palmeiras under 20s. 18-year-old, right-footed centre-back. I mean, that's a decent amount of greenery. That's a decent amount of greenery. Yeah, I've got no idea about him. How tall is he? What's 186 centimeters? That seems pretty tall. That seems pretty tall. Yeah, I've got no idea, but to be fair, that could be one of those signings. Like, realistically, I mean, this says his market value is 300k. If we're looking at him, I assume it's more than that. But realistically, that's one of those that could just be like a Marquinhos type signing. I've never seen him play. I'm not going to pretend I've seen him play. 6'2", decent. Did you see the link for Jesus to Palmeiras? Oh, what? So we're going to do a swap deal of Gabriel Jesus for that guy. Skip fouled Saka on the edge of the box too. No card, no free kick. Yeah. What was that? No, was that the one where he played advantage for about half a second, or was that a different one? You know that time where Saka got fouled on the edge of the box. We made like one pass after it that went nowhere, and he didn't even play the advantage and give us a free kick on the edge of the box, which is clearly a far better opportunity. Fucking insane. It was the shortest advantage I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, 6'2", 6'3", decent. Yeah. Whoop showed up late, starting the stream from the beginning. Big up, Rory. Fraza, once you get back to this stage, hello. Good to see you. Anyway, look, it is time for Guess the Goal Scorer. I'm going to give you all of the information about an Arsenal goal, and you have to give me the goal scorer and the team that it was against. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the RoryTalksFootball community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. And remember, you need to give me the player name and the team it was against. This goal was scored with the left foot. It was scored with the left foot. It was assisted by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It was in the 71st minute. It was at Wembley. Arsenal won the game 2-1 in April 2017. Left-footed goal assisted by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the 71st minute at Wembley in an Arsenal 2-1 win in April 2017. Who's going to be first? Who is going to be first? Ross. Ross, what have you done? You haven't put the team. Oh, no. Oh, no. The winner is... It's Sam Shapiro. Sam Shapiro is the winner. It was indeed Monreal versus Manchester City. Ross Lawman got second in the end, Montreal. But yeah, that's brutal for Ross. Third was Space Time. No, it wasn't Space Time. It wasn't against Chelsea. Third was Ethan Udall. Fourth was Ryan Henderson. And fifth was David J. Lloyd. So there you go. Ross Lawman's face palmed. That's tough. It is tough. I meant City. I've got to take your first answer, unfortunately. No, it's Nacho Monreal against Manchester City. Congratulations to Sam Shapiro. And now it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. And you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the RoryTalksFootball community, but not as much respect as Sam Shapiro has. This player started their career at Ajax Youth Academy. They started their career at Ajax. They went to Tottenham Hotspur. They went to Inter Milan. They went to Brentford. They went to Manchester United. Ajax, Spurs, Inter Milan, little break, Brentford, Manchester United. And the winner is... It is Vilgot. It is Vilgot. It was indeed Christian Eriksen. Ross Lawman second again. That's a tough one for Ross this evening. He is second. James Salder is third. Osama is fourth. And Guno is fifth. There you go. Congratulations. Little break is crazy. Well, it was a little career break for him. You know? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Ross, that is an unfortunate evening. That is an unfortunate evening. But look, anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. I'll be live on Twitch from about 10:30 doing the Nwaneri to glory. We won't be live tomorrow, obviously, because I'll be at the Emirates. So we'll be live on Wednesday, recapping the game and doing all of the usual. So, wait, why are you calling VAR? Who's calling VAR? Nid says VAR, I misspelled Eriksen. What, you misspelled Eriksen delict? Nid, your only message before Vilgots was delict. Spelt delight. I don't know what the VAR... Goal given. Ross Lawman's goal given. There we go. VAR goal given. Look, if you could like the stream, before you jump off, please do like the stream. Subscribe if you're new. And like I said, I'll be back here on Wednesday night. But I will be back on Twitch later this evening. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. And I will catch you all tonight or on Wednesday. Goodbye.